They thought it would be just three helpless kids, an easy target, a simple kidnapping to pressure a federal agent. But what the criminals didn't know was that they were about to make the biggest mistake of their lives. These weren't ordinary children. In their blood ran discipline, courage, and the ancient secrets of the ninja. Before we dive into this electrifying story of vengeance, action, and honor, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, because what you're about to watch will prove that size does not define courage. His name is Hugo Snyder. To many, just a businessman. To those who really know him, a ruthless predator. He traffics weapons, buys loyalty, and builds an empire on fear and betrayal. Cold, calculating, always dressed in white as if mocking purity itself, Snyder doesn't care who he crushes to achieve his goals. But this time, he went too far. By targeting the family of Douglas, a relentless federal agent who has pursued him for years, Snyder decided to kidnap what Douglas valued most, his children. It was supposed to be just a pressure tactic, but Snyder had no idea of the force he was about to awaken. Douglas always knew that facing criminals like Snyder came with a price, but he never imagined his own family would be caught in the crossfire. Married to Jessica, the daughter of a respected ninja master, he tried to balance two lives, one as a federal agent, cold and dangerous, and the other as a father, filled with love and vulnerability. To his three sons, Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum, he was simply the dad who worked too much. But behind the scenes, Douglas was leading one of the largest operations against arms traffickers in history. When Snyder discovered Douglas's personal link to the Tanaka family, he saw the perfect opportunity to strike at his enemy's heart. And so began a deadly game where the family would stop being just support and become the target. In the silence of a dojo lit only by lanterns, the old master Tanaka watched his grandsons with firm, steady eyes. To many, he was just an eccentric old man. But to those who knew his past, Tanaka was one of the last living guardians of true ninja art. With patience, he passed down lessons that went beyond combat: discipline, self-control, respect for nature, and above all, unity. "A ninja never uses his strength to oppress the weak," he would say, his deep voice echoing like law. "A ninja is mind, body, and spirit in balance." While Snyder plotted in the shadows, Tanaka prepared his grandsons for a day when they would have to fight, not just for themselves, but for their family. What was once training would soon become survival. Rocky was the eldest, strong, determined, always ready to protect his brothers, though sometimes he carried too much weight on his shoulders. Colt, the middle one, was quick and rebellious, with a competitive fire that refused to lose. And Tum Tum, the youngest, brought humor and lightness, always hungry, always curious, with a natural talent for improvisation. Each reflected a piece of their grandfather's teachings: strength, speed, and creativity. Alone, they were just kids, but together, they were a team. And when danger finally reached their doorstep, the world would discover that Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum were destined to be far more than ordinary boys. One night, the family's peace was shattered. A van stopped outside, and three bumbling kidnappers crept toward the house with ropes, masks, and a cold pizza. Inside, Rocky heard the noise and called his brothers. Fear hit them like a wave, but so did the memory of their grandfather's words. A ninja never panics. He turns the environment into his ally. That night, the lessons stopped being just words. For the intruders, it was the beginning of a nightmare. The boys turned the house into a battlefield. Ropes across the stairs, oil on the floor, chili powder ready to blind. Rocky planned the defenses, Colt prepared his speed and strikes, and Tum Tum improvised gadgets between bites of candy. The kidnappers thought it would be easy. They had no idea that three little ninjas were waiting for them. The front door burst open. The men entered, laughing. Seconds later, one slipped on marbles, another took a frying pan to the head, and the third, blinded by pepper smoke, collapsed on the couch. For a moment it was almost comedy, but then one of them pulled out a real gun and aimed straight at Rocky. The children froze. It wasn't a game anymore. This was life or death. The fight raged through the house. The brothers set off every trap they could, humiliating and slowing their attackers. But fear, exhaustion, and the men's growing rage began to overwhelm them. Colt was grabbed, Rocky was struck down, and Tum Tum fought desperately before being tied up. Soon all three were bound, gagged, and dragged away. Their resistance seemed to have failed, yet even tied, they carried within them the flame of the ninja, and that flame could not be extinguished. At his hideout, Snyder greeted them with cold satisfaction. "So, these are my enemy's sons," he sneered. He showed them his weapons, his explosives, his empire of fear. "Your father will crawl to me, or he'll never see you alive again." For the first time, the boys saw the true darkness they were up against. Snyder wasn't just a criminal, he was a monster. Meanwhile, Douglas received the devastating news. His sons were gone. As an agent, he knew he couldn't give in to a criminal's demands. But as a father, every second apart from them was agony. Jessica's father, Master Tanaka, stepped forward. "This fight is not yours alone," he said. Donning once more the ninja robes of his past, he stood tall, a living legend. Together, father and grandfather set out to rescue the children, a mission no one else dared attempt. That night, they infiltrated Snyder's fortress. Guards fell silently under Tanaka's strikes, while Douglas stormed in with the fury of a desperate father. The compound erupted into chaos. Snyder watched from above, enraged. "They've come to me. Then they will die here." The final battle had begun. In the heat of the fight, Tanaka was gravely wounded protecting his grandsons. With his last strength, he whispered, "Now, it's up to you." Breaking free from their bonds, Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum remembered his lessons. Together, they were unbreakable. For the first time, they fought like true ninjas, speed, strength, and creativity in perfect balance. Snyder descended, revealing his own ninja training twisted into cruelty. He clashed with Tanaka in a storm of steel. But soon, the brothers joined the fight. Rocky's strength, Colt's speed, and Tum Tum's tricks overwhelmed the villain. He was a master of darkness, but he had never faced the power of unity. Exhausted and furious, he fell to their final united strike. Snyder was defeated. His empire collapsed. The family reunited in tears of relief. Douglas embraced his sons, no longer just children in his eyes, but heroes. Tanaka, though weakened, smiled with pride. Jessica held her boys tightly, vowing never to let go. Back home, under the rising sun, the brothers listened once more to their grandfather. "Today you proved what it means to be true ninjas. Strength is not in muscles, but in the heart. Love is the greatest weapon of all, and trust is what makes you unbreakable." The boys smiled. They knew life would go on, full of school, laughter, and challenges. But deep inside, they also knew, when the time came, they were ready for more. The battle was over. The family had won, and Snyder had fallen. But the question remains, what if it had been you? Would you have the courage to turn fear into strength, the discipline to fight, even when everything seemed lost? Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum proved that age and size don't matter. With unity, love, and trust, any enemy can be defeated. So tell me, would you have the courage to face them? Leave your thoughts in the comments, share this with someone who loves action stories, and of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Because more electrifying tales are coming, and you won't want to miss them.